Hello, we are going to start with our golden yellow yarn and our eye hook. This portion will be worked in the round, so we're going to start with a magic ring. And then in that magic ring, for round 1, we are going to make 8 half double crochet. Alright, after the 8 half double crochet, we're going to close that circle, and then you're going to slip stitch to the very first half double crochet that you made. After you slip stitch, go ahead and chain 1. Make sure that's good and tight. And then for round 2, we are going to half double crochet increase in each stitch around. So you make 2 half double crochets in each stitch, and that will be a total of 16 half double crochets at the end of round 2. Alright, don't forget to end with that slip stitch and a chain 1. For round 3, we are going to start with 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, and then you'll do a half double crochet increase in that next stitch, and then we'll repeat that pattern around. So 1 half double crochet, and then you'll increase in the next, and then keep repeating that all the way around until you have a total of 24 half double crochets after round 3. Alright, finish off that with a slip stitch and a chain 1. For round 4, we will continue increasing. So you are going to put 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then you'll increase in the 3rd stitch. So that's 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and then increase in the 3rd, and you'll repeat that around until you have a total of 32 half double crochets at the end of round 4. All right, to start round 5, we're going to repeat that pattern, but this time we're going to do 3 half double crochets and then we'll increase. So 1, 2, and 3, and then increase in that 4th stitch. At the end of round 5, you will have 40 half double crochets. Alright, so round 5 was our last increase round. At this point, for round 6 through 11, we're just going to put 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. So just 1 in each round will have a total of 40 half double crochets, and there's a total of 6 rounds. So at this point, I'm going to fast forward the video a bit. If you need to pause that when we get to the end to finish up, just make sure you end when you hit, or when you finish 11 rounds. Alright, you should now be finished with your 11 rounds of the main part of the hat. Go ahead and weave in all your ends and finish that off, and then we will start on the bottom edge of the hat. Alright, for this section we are going to be using our dark brown yarn and our G hook, and we will be working in rows with this part of the hat. So make a slip stitch in your yarn, and then we are going to chain 6. Okay, after you have your chain 6 finished, in the second chain from the hook, you're going to single crochet, and then in each stitch across, you're going to single crochet. So at the end, you'll have 5 single crochets. Alright, make sure you chain 1 at the end of the round. Now, at this point, we're going to be working in the rest of the rows in the back loop only. So instead of putting your hook in the under both loops of each stitch, you're just going to go in that very back one. And you're just going to single crochet across in the back loop only of each stitch across. Okay, again, chain 1 and turn, and you'll have that nice ridge look there by going in the back loop only. So you'll just keep repeating this part of the pattern until you have 40 rows made. So you're going to work in the back loop only for 5 single crochet across each row. Make sure you chain 1 at the end of each row before you turn. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then we will meet back here once you have your 40 rows made. Alright, now that we have our 40 rows made, we're going to slip stitch the 2 ends together. So make sure it's not twisted, and then you're going to just put the 2 ends together and slip stitch 5 across both sides of the band. Okay, once your slip stitching is done, go ahead and cut a pretty long tail for this, as we're going to sew it around the bottom edge of the hat. Go ahead and finish that off. And then the next step, real quick, we're going to weave in that small end so that we get that out of the way. Alright, now our band is ready to be put onto our hat. So go ahead and grab your needle and get that ready to go on your yarn there. And then I'll show you how we sew that onto our hat. So you'll want to match up like the back, you'll kind of see the back seam there. Match it up with the seam that you just made with your slip stitches. That way that stays consistent. So we're just going to be going through the back loop of the hat and into the top edge of each row of the band. And you're just going to sew it on all the way around in each stitch of the hat. So just use the back loop there into the top edge, and you'll just continue that all the way around until you finish sewing the hat onto the band. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and weave in that in once you get to the last stitch there on the hat. And then we'll cut that off, and then the main part of the hat is finished. And next we will be moving on to the ears. Alright, to start with the ears, we're using our G-hook. You're going to want a stitch counter and our golden yellow yarn. So we will start again with a magic ring, and in that magic ring we will make 6 single crochet. Alright, go ahead and pull that loop closed, and then you're going to probably want to go ahead and use your stitch counter, and I put mine at the end of my rounds. Okay, for round 2 we're going to start with a single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch. So 1 single crochet and then increase in the second stitch, and repeat that 3 times around until you have 9 stitches for round 2. Okay, and to start round 3, go ahead and put that stitch marker back in if you haven't already. We are going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitches, and then we'll increase in the third. So 1, 2, and then increase in that third stitch, and you're going to repeat that 3 times around until you have a total of 12 single crochet. Alright, before we move on, I go ahead and just cut that center tail and get it out of the way. So for the next 4 rounds, that's rounds 4 through 7, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So for the next 4 rounds, you'll have 12 single crochet in each round. Alright, our last round, round 8, we're going to do 2 single crochet, so 1 and 2, and then we're going to decrease over the next 2 stitches. So insert your hook, pull your yarn through, insert it in the next stitch, pull your yarn through. You'll have 3 on the hook, and then you'll pull it through all 3. So 2 single crochet, and then decrease, and then you'll do that one more time. 2 single crochet and decrease. And then we will finish off for the ear. Alright, go ahead and slip stitch in that next stitch there. And you're going to cut a long tail for sewing. Alright, and then go ahead and finish that loop off. And now we are going to kind of fold the ear in half there, and then I'll show you how we're going to finish off the bottom piece so it looks like it's kind of curved. So grab your yarn needle, okay, so we're gonna fold the bottom half together like this, and then we'll just hold it there with your one hand, and then you're just going to weave your needle back and forth through the bottom until you get to the back of the piece. And then after you're done with that, you'll just put it to the side, and you're going to go ahead and want to make your second ear, and then we will move on to the horns. Alright, to start the horns, I've already made one, so you can see what that's going to look like. So we're going to start with our dark brown yarn and our G hook, okay, and you'll also want your stitch counter for this as well. So make your magic ring, and then you're going to put 6 single crochet into your ring. All right, go ahead and pull that closed. And then for round 2, we are going to increase around. So you'll put 2 single crochet into each stitch around, and at the end of round 2 you will have 12 stitches. Alright, and now we will start round 3. And for round 3, we are going to single crochet in the first stitch and increase in the next. And you'll just repeat that around. So single crochet and then increase in the next. And do that 6 times around for a total of 18 single crochet in round 3. Alright, we're going to go ahead and change our color of yarn to our golden yellow. So don't finish off that last stitch, just have your 2 loops on your hook, and you're going to go ahead and cut that brown yarn. Grab your golden yellow yarn, and then you're going to pull it through both of those loops. And then now we've changed our color. So going forward here, I will crochet over those 2 tails right there just to help secure it. So for round 4, we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around with our yellow yarn. So you'll have a total of 18 single crochet at the end of round 4. Alright, for round 5, we are going to start decreasing. So go ahead and cut those center tails just to kind of get those out of your way. And then you'll want to grab your stitch counter, put that in. We're going to start with 1 single crochet, and then we're going to decrease over the next 2. And you'll repeat that pattern all the way around. So 1 single crochet, and then decrease, and then just keep doing that same pattern. At the end of round 5, you will have 12 single crochet. Okay, for the next 2 rounds, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So that's round 6 and 7. You'll have 12 single crochet in both of those rounds, and round 7 will be our last round, so we'll finish off after that. Alright, slip stitch in that next stitch to finish it off and leave a long tail so we can sew it on. Go ahead and pull your yarn through your loop there. And this is what it should look like. And we're going to go ahead and stuff that now. After it's stuffed, I will show you how to sew the horns and the ears onto the hat. Okay, you're going to want your scissors and your yarn needle for this part. We are going to sew the horns on first. So move your ears out of the way for the moment, and you'll want to grab your hat and your yarn needle. Okay, so you'll want to kind of flatten out that top part of your hat, and the horn is going to be placed over rounds 2 and 3. So you're going to want to make sure it's covering those 2 rounds. And then you will just kind of slip stitch around the bottom edge of the horn until you get it completely secured onto the hat. Okay, now that that's finished, you'll just weave that in and cut your yarn, and then we'll move on to horn number 2. Okay, so grab your second horn and get that yarn ready to go. And we'll just repeat the exact same thing, just on the other side of the hat. So you want to make sure your placement is right before you start sewing. Kind of take a look at it once you put it on there. And then just start sewing around the bottom just like you did with the first one. Alright, this is what your hat should look like at this point. So now we will grab the ears and we will sew those on right under where we put the horns on the sides of the hat. So grab your first ear, and each ear is going to be sewn on between rounds 5 and 6. So if you count down, you can put them kind of in the line right between those two rounds. Alright, now that the ears are sewn on, we are going to start on our spots. So you're going to grab your dark brown yarn and your G-hook, make a magic ring, and for the small spots, you're going to just do 6 single crochet in the ring. Alright, pull that closed, and then you'll slip stitch to the very first single crochet that you made. And then you're going to go ahead and cut your yarn and make a long tail for sewing. Now you're going to want to make 4 of these small spots for the hat. So finish that off, and then I go ahead and cut the back small yarn there that's hanging off to get that out of the way. Okay, so make 4 small spots. Then we'll make our large spots. Alright, make a magic ring, and then this time you're going to chain 2 before we start. Okay, and in this magic ring we're going to make 9 half double crochet. Alright, and pull that closed, and then slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 that you made at the beginning. And then we will finish that off, and this is your large spot, and you're going to make 1 more of these large spots, and then I will show you how I sew them onto the hat. Alright, so you're just going to sew along the outside edge of your circle all the way around, attaching it to your hat, and you'll do this for each of your spots, and you can choose any placement that you like the best, but again, I'll show you here in a minute how I sew mine on each side of the hat. Okay, and there's the one spot, and then I put two more on the other side, and then I do the same pattern on the back side as well. So here's what that would look like. Alright, next up is the hair. So you're going to want to cut several strands of the light brown and the dark brown, and we'll use our hook to pull it through, and you're going to do it kind of in the middle right between the horns. You don't want to put a whole lot, but and this is up to you how much you want to put in there, but you're going to use the latch hook method. So you're going to double your yarn over. You're going to go ahead and stick it through where you want to place it and pull it halfway through with your hook, and then you'll put your fingers in and grab the end of the yarn and pull until it makes a little slip knot there. So you're going to alternate between the light brown and the dark brown to get the coloring you want for this. So you'll just fill it in until you have as much hair as you want in between the horns. Okay, so I've gone ahead and filled in all my hair, so now I'm just going to use my scissors and trim it up to the length that I want it. And I like mine just a little bit shorter because it sticks up better. Alright, and this is our finished hat. If you would like to make a bow for it, I'll show you how to do that next, but if you don't want a bow, then you are finished. Alright, so grab the color of your choice for your bow and your G hook and go ahead and make your slip knot. And we're going to be working in rows for this. So you're going to chain 9, and then in the second chain from the hook, you are going to single crochet across your chain, so you'll have a total of 8 single crochet at the end of row 1. Alright, make sure that you chain 1 and turn, and then we're just going to single crochet across again, and you will do this until you have 5 rows completed for the bow. Alright, let's go ahead and finish that off after round 5. You don't need a long tail here because we are going to go ahead and weave in both ends on the bow so far. So grab your needle and weave both of those ends in real quick. Alright, now you have your rectangle here, so we are going to grab a pretty long length of our yarn, and you're going to go ahead and cut it, and then we're going to wrap it around the center of our bow to make the shape that we need. So put your yarn at the back and hold it in place with one hand, and then just start wrapping tightly around the center to make that bow shape. Alright, and once you have that done, go ahead and grab your needle and let's get that secure in the back. So I just weave it through the center of the yarn we just wrapped a couple of times so that makes sure it doesn't come unraveled. And then it is ready to sew onto our hat. complete. So you can grab your hat and go ahead and, using the back of the bow, you can sew it straight onto the hat, and then make sure you weave in that end when you're finished, and then your hat is complete. Thank you so much for joining me today and making this giraffe hat with me. Part 2 is going to be a matching diaper cover, so make sure you hit the bell icon so that you don't miss that. And if you could subscribe and like this video, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, thanks for joining me. Bye.